And if you're sitting in meditation, and I've done this numerous times, and my body is just looking for an arousal, you can't see possibilities, and I want to get up, and I want to quit, and I want to do something else, and I want to check my emails and get back to work. I want to go to pee, I want to go to the toilet. But that's the work. This is Eldin Hassan. Watch this video until the end to understand better how to manifest and how to create everything in your life. Many times people stop me wherever I am, my clients included, and they say to me, listen, sometimes I go a day without meditation. I miss my meditation. Sometimes a day becomes 2 days, sometimes becomes a week, 2 weeks. And then I get busy and I don't have time to do it. And then I have more obligations and more things to do, and then I forget. And I say, on some level, we forgot that we came from source, from singularity, from the 0 point field, from pure love, from oneness, from infinite universal consciousness. This is who and what we truly are. And we came into density with such separation from that divine intelligence that free will causes us to learn from experiences and evolve into who we are. And I always say to them, well, if you've missed your meditations or you stopped doing them where you missed today, like sometimes people confess to me like I'm a priest or something. But what I always say to them, well, eyes open or eyes closed. Let's just break it down. One of the most important elements for the process of meditation, instead of waking up in the morning and going through the same routine, same behaviors that you always do, and going unconscious to a series of programs that have been indoctrinated in your nervous system, you do something different. So you can focus on other things. We are asking you to take a moment and execute that free will to create that's greater than those programs of habituation where you've done something so many times that your body literally can do it better than your conscious mind. And if we have a series of routine behaviors that causes us to go on autopilot, and we do the same thing today as we did yesterday, and we do that for a period of time, it makes sense then that our body is the mind, is dragging us into the same future based on yesterday. What we did yesterday, exactly the same. So sitting down in your meditation and remembering that you are creating your life, and it takes a great effort. It takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of awareness. You can't have consciousness without change in energy. And to break free from those programs and overcome some aspect of your unconscious self, you're gonna have to execute a will, a free will that's greater than those programs. And it takes an effort, daily application, daily consistent effort, until the challenge becomes easy and familiar, until discomfort becomes comfort. It takes energy, it takes awareness. And people think when they go unconscious and they catch themselves and they come back and they get frustrated that they've done something wrong. But the tedium in the beginning of catching yourself and returning back to the present moment, it's the work. It is the formula. It's bringing your brain and body back into the present moment. And our research shows if you do that really well, you could have very significant biological changes in your brain and in your body, even your energy field. So because where you place your attention, it is where you place your energy. And you're working with the body as the mind to settle it into the present moment and take it out of the known, predictable future that so many people rely on. And they constantly are wondering what's going to happen next. So they're going to fill in the reality with what they can expect. And the brain becomes an anticipation machine, always dropping in the next known so that the person feels safe because they can predict it. And not being able to predict it creates an anxiety. And the fear that causes the stress hormones to be activated. And we're living in the quieter time right now, where there is a significant amount of environmental pressures where people can't have the freedoms that they normally typically have. So when you can catch yourself, that predictable future, filling in reality based on a known, and in your meditation practice, returning back to the present moment, you're disinvesting your attention, and where you place your attention is where you place your energy. You're disinvesting your attention in meditation out of the known future, and you're bringing it back to the present moment, and that's a victory because you're causing more energy to be in the present moment. Now, habits are unconscious programs. And so it is not uncommon that you go to another thought. Well, that's because that's what you've been doing for the last 10, 15, 20 years. And tell me, how else is this going to change until you catch yourself enough times and remember that you remember so many times that you forgot, that you stop forgetting and you keep remembering. And to remember is to be conscious, and to forget is to be unconscious. So when we can demonstrate that kind of intention back into the present moment, we are telling the body it is no longer the mind, that there is new mind that's coming onto the throne, and it's you being more conscious and more aware and retraining the body. And it takes an effort, and it takes practice to keep settling the body back down, because it's looking for an arousal of those stress hormones or emotions that it's become reliant on by its interaction in the environment. So in our group meditations, we take away the environment, we close our eyes, we play music, we diminish the amount of sensory information into the brain so that we can construct a new model of reality, new vision of a future, get a clear intention, and we're not eating, and we're not smelling, and we're not tasting, and we're not moving about and feeling and experiencing the body. It's still. You are causing the body to no longer define you, but you are being defined by thought alone. And if you're going to be defined by thought alone, then you have to become thought alone. And if you're going to try to heal your body, if your body is trying to heal your body, then your matter trying to change matter. You and I both know it's going to take a lot of time for that to happen. So the process of getting beyond your body is the way that you heal your body. The idea of changing something in your personal reality means you're gonna have to forget about your personal reality. And if you're going to do that, and your personality creates your personal reality, you got to forget about you. You got to overcome you long enough to begin to think about the plan of actions and to feel different ways, and that takes an enormous amount of effort and awareness. So if we are not being defined by a vision of the future, then we are left for the most part with the memories of the past. The memories that are branded in their brain are connected to the certain objects of certain people, certain things at certain times and places. The moment they are thinking about these problems, they are thinking in the past. And those problems have an emotion that's associated with them. So the combination of the stimulus and the response brought in the feeling. The memory and the emotion is the conditioning the body emotionally into the past. So then the true change happens when the body, which has been emotionally programmed into the past, into the familiar past and known, you are actually interrupting that process of those feelings that have defined you as a personality that's connected to the past. And yes, if you can't think greater than how you feel, and feelings and emotions are a record of the past, then you believe your thoughts have something to do with your future. Your past is going to be created as a future. And for the most part, for me, what I've been taught, for the most part, that's called karma. Because it's the emotion of the past that's causing you to think and act in the certain ways, and you are reproducing the same life again and again. But there is nobody doing that to you. It is because you've lost your free will, your ability to remember that you're a creator. So we are priming the brain and body in our meditations to stay awake and to stay aware in our conscious day, and staying aware in our dream that we created is the work. So you don't only do this during your meditation, you do this with your eyes open as you go about your day. So can you then volunteer to be able to remind yourself every morning of the thoughts that caused you to return back to some unconscious program yesterday? Can you take a moment, instead of just rushing into your meditation, in your think box, think about how you spoke, think about how you've acted when you lost your focus. And can you begin to look at yourself and observe yourself from yesterday, and given the same circumstances, the same conditions, the same challenges, how would you behave differently? And what would you stop doing? And if you could remind yourself that is produced that level of mind of who you no longer want to be, and remember that that person who's acting in this habitual ways is creating the same future, and you caught yourself with your eyes open because you reviewed the behavior. And if you were going to overcome, you would remember and stop forgetting. And that would mean then there is a denaturing of your identity, of your personality. And of course, the challenge is not emotional reaction to your environment, to emails, to Zooms, to calls, to kids, to chaos, to news, the world, the elections, whatever it is that's causing people to react into the primary emotions of fear and aggression. And if you wanted to divide a culture, divide people, that's a great way to do it. Put them in a survival and fear, and you'll create more separation. So now, living in survival, that means the unknown is a scary place. And we're living in a time where the unknown is just very, very prominent for everybody. Nobody knows what's going to happen. So then, if you could, every single day, remind yourself simply basic meditation that we talked about, that we taught you, breaking the habit of being yourself, And you couple this with the breath work, with the breath exercises. And I do this when I go back to basics, when I'm working on something that I want to change in my operating system, I want to change certain habits, certain programs. I vocalize who I no longer want to be. I'm not going to be that person, and I'm dipping into the operating system of those habits. If you're going to break any habit, you've got to stay conscious, and you've got to make a different choice, and you can't react and you can't respond to the conditions in your environment that causes those emotions of fear and aggression, or pain and suffering. And when we feel those emotions, the next thing we do is we throw in the program, because that's something we know how to do. The problem is that those programs aren't going to work with the way the world is working right now. So then if you could get to the point like you were studying for a test, remembering certain ideas, remembering certain concepts, remembering the information, if you could remember and remind yourself that you would catch yourself and not let an unconscious thought slip by your awareness unnoticed by you. Now, this is the act of eyes open. You practice it with your eyes closed in your seated meditation, and you practice it with your eyes open as you go about your day. I guarantee you, when you get up and you start moving around, few people have done battle with those thoughts. You're going to catch them in your waking day. That's important for you, because you're not going to accept them. You're not going to believe in them. You're not going to surrender to them as easily as you did when you were unconscious, because they slip by around your mind, and that's what's programming the body into destiny. So then, by you observing how you spoke yesterday or how you acted, you could become aware and review your behaviors to such a degree that you committed it to a memory that the behavior was gonna keep your future looking a lot like your past, and it wasn't really loving to you. And you were so conscious of it and so finished with it that you were gonna remember or not forget. You're now in that river of change that we talked about. Now you have the power. You are in the power of you. So then, if the emotions that we react to our environment are so familiar to us that we are reacting and responding to our environment, then our environment is controlling our feelings and thoughts. Then we are victims to our environment, because we are responding to the environment. To think about this could be weakening the organism, could be weakening your body by taking up all your body's energy. And if you react really strongly, then you pay more attention to your outer world, and you believe it's more real than your inner world. And now you're seduced into the dream of the three-dimensional reality, the illusion. So we are working as a community in Formula EQ Academy, formulaeq.com, to stay conscious of our thoughts, behaviors, and emotions with our eyes open, and during the seated meditations with our eyes closed. And if you are sitting in your meditation, and I've done this numerous times myself, and my body is just looking for an arousal, you can't see possibility, and I want to get up and I want to quit and I want to do something else, and I want to check my emails, I want to get back to work, I want to use the bathroom, I want to have a cup of coffee. But that's everything, that's the known. And you're sitting there and you lowering your volume, and you working with your body, it's the best thing. You can do it better than any diet. If you keep lowering the volume, that emotion, and keep bringing it back into the present moment, it's like training a dog, like training a stallion. You say to your body, I'll feed you when we finish the meditation. I'll give you a cup of coffee. You can use your bathroom. Oh my God, my bladder is going to burst. You say to your body, you sit. I'm the master. Now we're going to work on this. And when we finish, I'm going to feed you. You can use the bathroom. You can have a cup of coffee. It's like training a stallion, training a dog. If you keep lowering the volume to that emotion and keep bringing it back to the present moment, you're training it to be comfortable in the unknown. And that's the work. Keep practicing, and we see you in our next Formula EQ Academy class every Friday. This is Eldon Hassan, and I look forward to seeing you in our next group coaching session.